So what role does the gut microbiome, probiotic bacteria that lives inside of your intestinal tract, what role does that play in helping you to burn fat and helping you to stay healthy and avoid disease? Well, I've been talking about this for a few years now, and it's one of the most interesting subjects out there. I've had Dr. Rodney Dietert on my podcast, and he wrote a book called The Human Superorganism, and that suggests that we're not just one organism. We are millions of organisms that are working in concert with each other to run this machine that we have going on here. And if that ecosystem inside of us and outside of us, if that falls off, if it becomes pathological, then we can become unhealthy. Now, as I said, I've been talking about this for a while, and it's a subject that interests me a lot. But this past couple of weeks, there was a study published by Lund University. And basically what they did was they examined, I think it was about 634 subjects. And they examined their stool samples to get a good read on their gut microbiome, and they examined their blood metabolite profile. All right, now what are metabolites? Metabolites are things that are floating around in our bloodstream that we can process, that we can metabolize, right? And so what they did was they looked for specific metabolites that were associated with obesity and diabetes. And two of them come to mind. One is glutamate, which is commonly associated with obesity. Having high levels of glutamate in your bloodstream that are not getting metabolized, they suggest that you're going to have a higher propensity toward obesity. The other one is branched chain amino acids, or BCAAs. Now, we normally think of those as something we supplement with, and a lot of you might be wondering, well, how is this associated with obesity when I'm taking them in order to build muscle and burn fat? Well, when you are pre-diabetic, or if you're insulin resistant, you don't absorb nutrients into your cells, and this includes both branched chain amino acids and glucose. So higher concentrations of BCAAs in your bloodstream suggest that you're probably insulin resistant. And so what they did was they examined the BMIs of people in this study. The higher BMI subjects, the people who were tending toward obesity, they had these higher levels of glutamate and BCAAs, but they also exhibited some pretty pathological, and by pathological I mean abnormal. I don't mean to talk like a robot over here. I mean they had a messed up gut microbiome. They were lacking certain friendly bacteria in their intestinal tract, and they were overpopulated with unfriendly bacteria. And basically what that demonstrates is that there's a potential link there that suggests that the gut microbiome helps us to metabolize these nutrients. And if we have an unhealthy gut microbiome, it suggests that we're going to have a lot more problems in metabolizing these nutrients. So what's the moral of the story for all of us? Number one is that if you want to burn fat, if you want to build muscle, if you want to stay healthy, the first place we need to look at fixing is going to be your intestinal tract. We need to make sure that there's a friendly population of bacteria in your intestinal tract that's going to work with you, and that's going to work with your superorganism to help you to burn fat, to help you to build muscle, but most importantly, to keep you healthy, right? So what are some practices we can do? And I've said this over and over again. Number one, eat fermented foods. Include them in your diet. Kimchi, raw sauerkraut. These are all kombucha. These are amazing things to include in your diet that can help to populate your intestinal tract with friendly bacteria. What else do we want to do? We want to make sure that we're eating good green leafy vegetables in order to create a great environment, seed our intestinal tract, and create a great environment to grow these bacteria. If you're a little bit more severe on your digestion, you could also use something like treatment-resistant starch. I did a video a few weeks ago that was like a day in the life where I was using cassava flour. People were wondering why I was using cassava flour, and that's because it's a treatment-resistant starch that helps to seed your gut to help populate it with good, friendly probiotic bacteria. And then the third thing is this, if you are very, very severe off, you might want to consider supplementing with a good live probiotic supplement. Right? That's going to give you an abundance of friendly bacteria to help that environment thrive. Now, I'm talking something like 200 billion probiotic bacteria a day or more if you have a severe intestinal issue. The other thing is you really do want to avoid processed sugar. You want to avoid things that are going to attract those unfriendly bacteria, because there's literally a war going on inside of you. The more real estate that those unfriendly bacteria take up, the harder it is, the harder it's going to be to populate and colonize your gut with friendlier bacteria, right? You want to make sure that you're getting lots of sleep, right? And people don't think about this, but your sleep patterns can definitely affect your ability to have a good, solid microbiome inside of you. And you really also want to be monitoring your stress levels. And I hate when people say this, but it is true. If you are stressed out, your gut microbiome will be stressed out as well. I'm going to create a helper article to this. I'll link it below. I'll also link that study from Lund University below. And I know some of this stuff is a little bit heavy and a little bit technical. Please ask me any questions that you want. I am happy to help you out. There are so many benefits to be gained by taking care of your gut. I'll talk to you later on this week. Hope you're all having a great day. Peace.